Hello, wonderful, lovely, beautiful people from the Atlassian ecosystem, and welcome to the very public Euroteam 24 retrospective. The good, the bad, and the maybe not do that next time. Let's get into this. What better way to start the what went well than with the maximum effort? Hats off to Atlassian, really great job. It was a very awesome event across the board, and it's very clear that a lot of people put a lot of hard work into this. Big thumbs up for that first point. Now let's go into the next point about what could be better next time. It has to be said, for those who don't know, the ecosystem has been having a bit of a meltdown over the summer because of the lead times. So that's the main point about putting on a huge event. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy from the people organizing it, previous point, maximum effort, amazing job. The partners involved, the sponsors, community leaders, etc., etc. Having about 3 to 4 months to plan such a huge summit is not ideal. Just recently, I was invited by the community team to present on planning lead times for ACEs in general. Even for a mid-size ACE, where you're only having about 50 attendees, you probably want about 6 months planning, especially as these people do it in their volunteer time. But lead times is a big issue. So next time, definitely want to give way more advance notice. Team 24 in Vegas, the prospectus was released in July, and so there's plenty of time to get around to that end of April. So if you compare this year's Euro team, end of July, last 2 weeks of July, the prospectus came out and the event was mid-October. There's a very short amount of time. Stresses everybody out. It's not fun. So next time, much better lead times is definitely needed. As a sub point to this lead times, I'll get back to target audience later, but it does have to be mentioned. If you want C-suite there, you're going to have to have a little bit longer than 3 months, because I don't know any CEO who, at the drop of a hat, especially enterprise level, suddenly says, oh yeah, in 3 months' time, I can do an afternoon or 2 days in Barcelona. Their calendars need some very, very specific scheduling. So if you want C-suite people, or at least the decision makers, you're going to have to give them more warning. But we'll get back to that a little bit later on the target audience. The next what went well is about the amazing talk. So yes, Atlassian, very, very focused, you guys, on the whole AI and the cloud and Jira premium. But overall, the talks were really, really awesome. So there's a lot from the customer perspective, some really good customer talks, as well as not too much of the AI and too much of the cloud. So there was a nice balance. I think that people could find their way through the tracks very, very easily into what they were most interested in and how they could find their way around all of those different talks. Back again to what could be better. One aspect that surprised me a lot with a Euroteam 24 coming back with Summit to Barcelona is the success of last year's High Velocity, more focused on service management, and the Unleash events, more focused on Agile DevOps. And the reason why I'm super surprised is that following the success of those, it was easy to copy paste, enhance, advance, and then do better. So it was really surprising to come with a summit. Now, no one at Atlassian has told me why Summit, why Europe, what's the focus. There's rumblings that within the overall marketing strategy, more needs to be done within Europe. And yet the criticism, High Velocity was amazing. And then all of these ACE satellites across the globe attached to it. Unleash was amazing. Everybody loved it. And then again, ACEs all around it. I think it was still going on end of March. That's massive for marketing. The community is putting on events from December until March. That's a 4-month program. You know, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit within that one. It's really easy to maximize the return on investment. So for me, it's odd to go from a very strong 2023 to a very hectic and busy and stressed out 2024 when it comes to the event types and the size of it and everything like that. Now then, back over to what went well. The third positive for the what went well has to be the Expo Hall space. Now, I didn't do anything public in terms of retrospectives for Vegas, but I did not like that space at all. Very huge, very open, very sparse. It felt like people weren't really invited to come into the booths and really talk to people and stuff like that. Very easy for guests, attendees, customers to just float around. Complete flip on Barcelona. very nice. That was an awesome expo hall. You could come in from multiple sides, which I was like, oh, is that going to be a bit of a problem? But not at all, because every entrance had its own sort of reasoning for why you're entering from there. It was very, very nicely done. You came in immediately, big welcoming board, community to your right, and then very, very logical layout of all the different partners, the Braindates, everything like that. It was more compact. It was nicer for people to walk around. There was generally a really good flow. Food location, spot on. That one was awesome. So back again to what could be better. The next point, I'm not sure I 100% agree with, because I think that these summits, any form of event, it really needs to cater to different people. However, having talked to a lot of different partners, I think that there's a lot to be said about the talks not diving into the technical side deep enough. Lots of sales and marketing, lots of high level business chatter and stuff like that. But the smaller talks in particular, away from keynotes, smaller talks focused on, say, customers, focused on specific tracks, they needed to dive more into the technical. That is a bit of a challenge with the target audience itself, but I'll talk about that in a minute or two. Let's get back to what went well. I didn't start with this point on what went well, because I feel like there is a lot going on with Atlassian Europe. So I didn't want to make it the main big opening statement, but let's face it, Summit is back in Europe. That is absolutely fantastic that such a huge Atlassian event has now returned to Europe. And there's already rumblings that they're coming back. I think even Mikey CB himself was joking about coming back to Europe, in particular Barcelona. So we'll see what happens in 2025. But for now, Summit is in Europe again. It's very, very awesome, very, very exciting. So big thumbs up, Atlassian. We love you for that. The Europeans are definitely massively into the Atlassian stack. So fab job on that one. Back again to what could be better. I just mentioned it a little bit with the talks not diving into the technical side enough. Let's talk about target audience. Who is the target audience for these events? Because there's a confusion between the technical people, the master users, people who are using these apps, these platforms all the time, and C-suite, business decision makers, budget owners, etc., etc. Now, my opinion, you want your internal champions, you want your master users, you want your admins at these events, because at the end of the day, my experience in 20 years plus of digital transformation, a lot of it spent on commercial projects. No business decision maker, no budget owner looks at a proposal, talks to the sales team directly, and then goes, oh, this is great for our company, sign off on it. They will go to their internal champions and they'll say, oh, what do you think of this Jira platform? Oh, we should use Trello, cool. The C-suite people need to be attended to, right? And very successfully, there has been tracks in Vegas in previous summits, but the core, the people who are most interested to come hear about the updates and everything like that, they're not in the C-suite. They're not even VPs, and often not even senior directors, although senior directors do take quite an interest, especially when it comes to their budget. So somewhere there needs to be that balance. How do we attend to the C-suite? How do we attend to the master users, to the people actually using the tools, managing the tools, coordinating the tools? My opinion, there needs to be specific moments that the C-suite is involved. Very often CEOs aren't going to come to a 3-day summit event. They want to go to something like that, get to the point, get their business done, and leave again. And for the master users, they want to be there the whole time. So I think it's the balance between, is there a C-suite ticket and they come for one afternoon, very focused on them. There's exclusive lunches like what happened in Barcelona. They spend a few hours with top management, etc., etc., and leave all of the talks, leave all of the regular day-to-day stuff of the events. Little bit less sales and marketing, more diving in, more technical, a little bit more. This is for the general people who love using the tools. And now, back to what went well. This is one of my favorite what went wells, is the Braindates. They were very, very awesome in Vegas, but I think people didn't know quite how to use them properly to their advantage, both as a host of a Braindate, but also the people attending them. In Barcelona, knocked it out of the park. Big hats off to the Braindates team. They did an amazing job of putting together some excellent Braindates for us all. I, for one, definitely cannot recommend these more for people. So if you're looking for something awesome to do at Team 25 Anaheim, watch out for these Braindates. You'll get an email alert at some point once you're registered to say, hey, would you like to host a Braindate? Would you like to check them out? Both as a host, both as a attendee going to one of those, I can't recommend them more. I already have 3 ideas, 1 Braindate for each day of the Anaheim Summit. So check out the Braindates. They are really, really awesome. So whoosh, back over to what could be better. Here's a really big concern of mine. It's very difficult to translate it to a concrete, here's some great advice how to handle it better, but is Anaheim impacted? When I was selected to talk on stage for Summit 2020 with a really cool augmented reality project support and talking about Trello and the use of the Atlassian stack within IKEA Place, we had everything arranged by end of September. The final presentation was approved by October. Most of October and November, we were spending our time rehearsing and being told by Atlassian and their gurus what's good, what's not good, how to maybe change it a little bit. We are now running towards the end of October, October 28th. The prospectus for sponsors is going to be released. And so there is a growing concern. Is now Anaheim impacted? Now, everybody knows that every year the summits are going to come. Team is there. So we knew the dates. It's not going to be too much of a shocker. But for someone like Atlassian, I would be very concerned about communications with partners, communications with customers. Get those communications throughout all of November, a little bit of December, holiday season. Once everyone's back from holidays in January, again, communicate. Keep them all updated. Keep that excitement going, right? It's got to be fun. Oh. So keep the excitement going, keep people informed, keep them all updated. Make sure that everyone is now, from a marketing and sales perspective when it comes to events, fully focused on Team 25 Anaheim. Another really awesome what went well was the fact that it was the first time for a lot of people. Now, if you think about it, last year was a very heavy focus on high velocity and Unleash, and then all of the aces around it, including Atlas Camp as well. Shouldn't forget that one. But it was the first time on the summit for a lot of people. It's been a while, right? So it's been many years since they were in Barcelona, 2017 to be precise. Boom, boom. And so really great that people could come and enjoy an Atlassian Summit for the first time within Europe. It is difficult for people from Europe to get over to the US, and so really awesome. Like I said earlier, great that Europe is once again hosting Summit, but even better that for quite a few people that I met around the Expo Hall, it was their first time at a Summit, at Team, and so that's brilliant. Brilliant that people can be connected in that way, and now let's talk about something else. This is my favorite when it comes to talking about partners, and I'm going to quote somebody else who asked to remain anonymous. Are Atlassian tone deaf? Good question. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to all the other previous points, lead times, target audience, is Anaheim impacted, is how the partners have to react to such a huge announcement. Oh, we're going to do a 3-day summit in Barcelona. It's in 3 to 4 months' time, more information to follow. So a lot of the partners definitely feeling like they're being squeezed, that they are not well respected, etc., etc. Now, there's a lot of private conversations going on, so I'm not going to quote people beyond that one question, is Atlassian tone deaf? But there are some partners who couldn't even afford to go to Europe and be attendees. So that aspect of caring about people's budgets, caring about what's going on, etc., etc., is really, really important. So next time, definitely think about the partners. They bring you a lot of revenue. Make sure that they are well looked after and all that jazz. And now back over to what went well. A little bit of a bias on this one because just recently I became the online group moderator and leader for nonprofit and social impact, but the foundation team were there. They had their booth. So massive shout out to Emma and Harshith. Really cool that you guys came all the way, one from India, one all the way from the States, and it was so fantastic that you could be there. And that just goes to show the level of commitment of Atlassian to all of their nonprofits and their social impact, right? Obviously, creators have pledged 1%. Very, very awesome that the foundation team could also be participating. So go to Online Community and check out that nonprofit social impact group. I'm over there doing cool stuff, so watch out what's going to happen in Team Anaheim. I think it's going to be even bigger for the foundation team. The final critique, what could be better next time, has to be, where are the customers? In such a short space of time, it's very difficult to get your budgets, get your flights, get your boss to say, you can go, a whole week pretty much, right, to an event, go get the important updates and come back. I know for myself, Summit 2018, I couldn't get approval to go. And the CEO I was currently reporting to said, what will you learn there that you don't already know online from all the updates? And I foolishly went, oh, don't know. So people need the time to get their budgets in order, to put it into their yearly education training or however they're getting rid of it within their company. One partner ran up to me on Thursday afternoon really angrily and said, "Hey, what do you think of this event?" And I said, "It's great. It's awesome. Community, excellent Expo Hall, amazing talks, right?" And then they go, "Yeah, but where are the customers?" Oh, yeah. Okay, good point. So that partner had spent a lot of time running around the Expo Hall, scanners on the booth, but one person running around the Expo Hall scanning people as much as possible. And after talking to people, working out who's a genuine customer, they only had about 105 scanned in total. That is unfortunately very far from what the prospectus was saying, in the 1200s to 1800s of attendee numbers. Now, attendee numbers, let's not get this mistaken, attendee numbers were good. When that keynote went out Tuesday afternoon with Arsene Wenger, brilliant. The whole room was full. However, the partners, they want to invest, they want their good return on investment, right? They want to see customers. That's all they care about at the end of the day. So what could be better next time? Delegate recruitment, better reach out, not sending the HTML marketing emails that get deleted, having people actually reach out, work out smart marketing campaigns, use LinkedIn better. Not to brag, but I went to Seoul for the first time last year. Don't speak the language, never been to the country. And yet at the ACE, of the 30 attendees, 20 were my contacts. They didn't know the partner, they didn't know Atlassian Community existed, but I'd done the delegate recruiting in the month and a half preceding. And I'd found people and I convinced them to come to the event. So there's a lot more that can be done with the delegate recruiting and the overall marketing around promoting the event and making the partners happy. Minimum buy-in this year was, I think 22,000, something like that. I'd have to check the numbers. So when someone puts down a lot of money, they want to see that return on investment. And for most companies, even though they're wrong, that's another video I'll do another time, the return on investment is those scanned leads. They want to see it in the hundreds, in the 700s, in the 1000s, not 100, not for a 3-day event. So that's the last critique. Let's work harder on the delegate recruitment, get more customers to Anaheim. We all need to work on it together. It's not just an Atlassian thing. So Atlassian, if you're angry at me, one, don't care, but two, we're in this together. And let's get back to my final point about what went well. Yeah. And welcome to the bonus round. The release of Atlassian Team 25 Anaheim prospectus last week caused me to cancel the publishing of this video because I wanted to address the pricing for Anaheim Team 25, because since last Tuesday, there's a lot of partners talking, within the inner circles about how ridiculously expensive it is. And something triggered me later in the week when one partner phoned me up, pretty angry, and said, the pricing is 30% more. And I thought to myself, that can't be right. So decided to double check the pricing and see what's going on. And it's not. So if you are sponsoring for the first time ever, the pricing is going to be, on average, over all packages, 8% more than Vegas. However, if you're an alumni and you're returning to sponsor, I'm not sure of the fine print again, I can't remember, look it up later. But if you're returning, you actually get 2% lower. So the pricing for Anaheim is not dramatically more than it was for Vegas. However, there are lots of comments about the fact that this event is over time getting more and more and more expensive, whilst the quality of the attendees numbers is getting lower and lower and lower. So great opportunity to round this video off with a reminder of those other previous points about delegate recruitment, finding the customers, etc., etc. So Anaheim is not more expensive than Vegas, not dramatically more anyway. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens with the communications part, because the last few days we've just been talking to partners about other events from partners have been cancelled. People have pushed out their events. One partner pushed out their event twice, once from May, once from the autumn, the same event. So they haven't had that event all year. Yeah, we'll see how it goes with Anaheim. We'll see how it goes in general with the ecosystem. A lot of partners starting to say, but Atlassian don't care about us anymore. So I think they do. I hope they do. And that's it. That's your bonus round. Anaheim is not way more expensive. So open up your wallets. Let's go. It's time to party. I would like to end the whole retro on the biggest high possible and the biggest compliment for Atlassian, and that has to be the community. So they've now got within their mix of what they call the community champions, they've got their online community leaders, they've got their ACE leaders, Atlassian Community events, and they've got their creators program going on. But I think that the community transcends those roles, and it just goes out to the wider partners, it goes out to the attendees in general, everyone and anyone that is involved in community. It's just so evident to see from this event how important community is for Atlassian. The community team that is on the Atlassian side, managing all of the volunteers and helping them be the best leaders, community champions, whatever you want to call it these days, be the best that they can be. And these events are really bringing community together. Not just the leaders, the partners as well, as I mentioned already. It's just fantastic to see everybody come together. And as a previous point, a lot of first time for people, but they didn't feel like first timers because that's how strong the community is. And so that finishes off the what went well. And that is it. Hooray! The retrospective by the Fun Man as part of Fun Inc. If you're worried about Team 25, Anaheim, and you want to understand how to maximize everything that you're going to do, don't just multiply your numbers, amplify your business when it comes to getting out to Anaheim, just reach out to me. I'm very, very readily available. I'm sure someone's going to put a QR code right here and you can scan it, or link in the description. Oh, overall, Barcelona was a big win for everybody. In my opinion, there's a lot to think about and a lot that could be better next time. And yet, we all know we're going to be in Anaheim come April 8th. So, see you in Southern California. Fun Man, out. Where's my mic to mic drop?